But it's not gonna end just quite yet, because we are sticking around. Hey everybody, I'm Ken Napzok, and welcome to the third episode of Internet for Old People. Is it a bunch of jokes about you kids in your TikTok? Well, maybe occasionally, but really, this show, we hope, is a whole lot more. It is where pop meets culture. It is where our shared experiences of that pop culture life become our story. Pop culture is our art. It is what we experience, what we share, what we celebrate. It's how we communicate. It's how we express sometimes our love. For me, the only way I can talk is Star Wars. But, you know, more than just Star Wars here today. This is a bunch of us looking at the crazy history of pop culture, something that has been around, but I kind of go back to like the mid-'60s. Beatles, Elvis coming out of the late 50s into the 60s, into the movies. That kind of era, that's what you loved is sometimes often confused with who you are. But then again, a little bit of confusion over that is a lot of fun. So one of my things today, before we get into our show with our great guests, we have two wonderful guests here. We have Bucket Full of Pop. We have some trivia, a segment. I'm trying to name that. Maybe you out there in the GPA audience can help. One of my thoughts is this idea of old isn't old. When you grow up, and I'm actually speaking to the young kids out there, you little kids out there on my lawn. No, old is this weird concept. When you hear an age, when you're, say, 20, 40 seems ancient. That's fair. It's so long. And then you hit it, and it doesn't feel it. You always hear it's mind over matter, what's going on in your brain. But really, besides the creaks in my back and the little pains in my knees, I feel more and more and more just by the simple act of putting on my pants every day, which is why sweatpants in a pandemic are nice. Those numbers mean far, far less, and it truly is a state of mind. And now is here for you. And if you want something if you have something you want to get to, age has no number. If you want something you want to try, go for it. If you have something that you thought years ago, maybe I should give it a go, but nah, I'm too old, I've moved on, nothing's stopping you, and that's part of what our experience is here today. I'm not alone today. Kaika Shively working the ones and twos, as we always say, the Hawaiian honk. Kaika, how old do you feel I
am? Mid-40s?
I didn't mean to guess. Is it really? Do you think I'm like 80? Because you're right. But you know,
part of you, like when you talk Star Wars and stuff, you feel like you're 10 years old because you like have the love of Star Wars and everything, and it's like that. But when you're like being grumpy or like, oh, my back's hurting, it's like mid-40s right there.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. And you got a great, wonderful background there. Wait, that's the new Turtles game?
Yes, it's old school graphics,
but
nostalgia, pop culture. Ninja Turtles.
There you go. New is old is new. It's a fun thing. Oh, shout out to Matt the Beard Man. Today is his 30th birthday. Speaking of getting old, and that's a number I was so afraid of. And then now that seems like that's nothing. Then when I turn 40, I seem so afraid of that. I'll be 45 next month, and it is a number I am proudly embracing. But speaking of embracing, I want to welcome these two new names to the Good People Association. One is part of the great movie talking channel, The Movie Guys. You might know him from the Schmodown. I also know him from just talking in a bar about Solo, a Star Wars story, one of our favorite movies. And the other performer here today is a wonderful sketch performer. She'll deny it, but she's a good improv performer. She also has been in the Schmodown. She also is just a great person and great on a bar crawl, too. Welcome to the show, Adam Witt, Claudia Dolph. Welcome to Internet for Old People, my friends.
Oh, my gosh.
You're
so
here.
Good to be here.
Oh, Adam, your Luke Skywalker beard's coming in nicely there. You're on an island. I love it.
Yes, I am embracing the oldness. I mean, my hair has been white since I was 32, but it took a long time to stop dyeing it and just admit that this is what it looks like.
I love it. It looks great. Claudia, how are you doing, too? Welcome to Good People Association.
I'm doing well. Thank you for bringing up my bar crawl skills.
You're
proud of my consumption of tacos and
vodka. Yeah. When Dorina hosts those taco crawls, you're a good, calm presence. You're always like, I trust you in a bar. Does that make sense? You're one of the people where I'm like, where do we go? Who has our cards? Like you're a good calm center in a crazy bar crawl world, and it's a high compliment. I hope you take it.
I haven't been in a bar in a year, guys.
I know.
A year.
Been very weird. Took me a long time to find a bar I liked, and now it's gone.
Well, hopefully soon we can get you to our bar here in the GPA studio. And shout out to founding members and Bucket Club members of the GPA. A lot of you have your buckets, your tumblers, and you're sharing those photos. We're going to keep sharing those online. We appreciate it. We're waiting on ours. We're going to get our buckets probably next week, and the next drink up is going to be a lot of fun because we'll have those buckets. And so for those who are like, what's that? Just go to the GPA.fun. We have sustaining membership options there. In the top tier, the Bucket Club, you get a tumbler with our logo and a lot of other perks as well. And it's part of the fun. Also, this show, we do accept donations and Streamlabs and Super Chats. It's not necessarily part of the ongoing conversation here. If we get some time at the end, you have questions, we'll get to those. But shout out to, again, Matt the Beard Man. Who says, I know I only turned 30 today, but I feel old when I'm around my high school athletes, because he's a coach, and says, and I say, you're killing me, Smalls, and no one gets the reference. Thanks for all the B-Day wishes. That's actually interesting because I think I started this show, Claudia and Adam, because I'd make references and do make references on shows like the Schmodown, and when no one gets it, I feel lonely.
Like when you start bringing up those Remington steel drops.
Well, Remington Steel is a little deeper than the Sandlot, but I do have to say, when I saw the giant awakening of people wearing "You're Killing Me" Smalls shirts, it's just, pop culture is fascinating how ubiquitous it can be.
Yeah.
No matter how obscure. The fact that I see those shirts on all kinds of people, and I'm like, that was a really rare reference at one time where you said that,
Yeah.
people were like, oh, I didn't know what that was from.
I love it. And those references, look, I'll still drop them. I'll drop a Remington Steel reference. And if you get it, it means you're a Pierce Brosnan fan or you're not. But Claudia, it kind of becomes it's that currency. It's a shared experience that becomes the way we can communicate, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Let me ask you both this question. As one of my things I'm just excited about to talk about on the show often, other than just the stupid references that we all know and what it proves. So, again,
Plenty of those.
Plenty of those. And what it means to us. But did you all experience at times in your life, because we kind of all grew up in the era, either, doesn't matter what part or what side of that era, but where at some point we were expected to put away these things we loved, Star Wars or TV shows or maybe even sports to a certain degree, maybe a little bit less in our culture. But were you ever told it's time for you to put those up or away? Or for you, Claudia, like, girls don't like Star Wars or girls don't like Doctor Who. Like, what are you doing? Claudia, have you experienced any of that?
Yeah, a little bit. So I was homeschooled up until high school.
Okay.
So I was already a weirdo when I got there. Like, I was in a real white school, so I was vaguely brown. Nobody knew what I was. I'm 5'10". I was already 5'10" at 14. Like, just a weirdo. And so I would bring things up that nobody understood, like Doctor Who, Red Dwarf, things like that. And so I just kept it to myself. Like, I just stopped bringing that stuff up. And then when I got older and Facebook, social media started to happen, and I reconnected with a couple of friends from high school and realized that they had the same experiences, and they liked the same things. And so now we just embrace it. But it's kind of a bummer to not have known that then.
You were saying something that's so close to my heart in terms of specifically Star Wars, where I was on the playground with my friends in the 80s, directing Little Playground. Today at recess, we're going to reenact the Sarlacc pit sequence. And we wouldn't have a Leia, and it was, number one, a bummer. There was only one female character to choose from. But we didn't have a Leia. And it turns out on the other side of the playground were a bunch of girls, secretly Star Wars fans, who had been told they couldn't do it. And then we all just kind of had to keep this little light. I'm going to let it shine to myself. And Adam, that's a bummer, but it's also, I guess, comforting to go, I'm not alone.
Yeah. I mean, Star Wars was that one thing that all the kids universally embraced. It was hugely popular. Yeah. And I embraced it, but did not realize at the time I had embraced it far more than my friends, but it just fit in because we all talked Star Wars. And then at some point, everybody started, became about heavy metal or albums, or sports, all this sort of stuff. That the interest got very diverse for all my friends, but it didn't for me. And then you hit that point. 7th grade was such a tough one because that was the point where some reason the word mature became such a key word, and everybody's like, "You're not being very mature. You're not being very mature."
Yeah.
And there was so much pressure to be mature, and I was like shocked by that and very upset because my life really still was Star Wars. And I remember an episode of Amazing Stories where Mark Hamill plays a guy who collects comic books and all this sort of pop culture stuff. And this is like right in the sweet zone where I'm getting made fun of for still liking Star Wars in 7th grade. Can you imagine? You're still a kid in 7th grade, and everybody had all this pressure to be an adult in 7th grade. And
do your taxes.
Right. And in that episode, he keeps a hold of his childish things. And there was a lesson at the end, straight from Steven Spielberg, to never let go of this stuff. Always be valuable to you.
See?
That was kind of cool.
I love that story. Amazing Stories was also a great series, and Spielberg had it right. And Claudia, you mentioned reconnect with these friends and finding that community now. That's pretty powerful because it kind of flows into the rest of the entertainment field. It's kind of sprung up around us in a way that the things we loved are now the properties that make so much money, not that we get to see it. But did that feel good when you finally connected with those people and were like, I can be me?
Oh, yeah, 1,000%. And now, like we're all in our 40s and stuff, but, I think we're sort of like finding that child within us or whatever again, and I will say, though, I think like as women, you still get tested. Like people will still like.
Yeah,
I remember.
Let's not pretend it's perfect. Yeah, let's not pretend we fixed that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I just remember like I was newly single at 40, and I went on a date with a dude, and we started talking about GoldenEye because I played GoldenEye constantly.
Yeah.
In college, like that was just a thing we did.
Yeah, because
before I am every day.
Because you were cool.
And he starts
Love
like GoldenEye.
Me. Oh my god.
He quizzed you.
He's quizzing me about the game.
What's the quiz like? So you're sitting there. I'm sure he took you to a nice place like a Chili's or a Fridays, and you're sitting there, and what's he quizzing you on? Slappers only? Odd job? Like what's he quizzing you on?
Like cheat codes and stuff like that. He starts bringing up cheat codes and like didn't think that I wasn't gonna understand his references or what he was talking about, and I was like, peace out, dude.
Peace out, indeed. Yeah, the moment you're like, if you had said. I play GoldenEye too. Like, what I don't understand the gatekeeping aspect of it. It comes from some really sad place. It breaks my heart because it's like, that's what I want. That's what I want on the playground. If Claudia and I, we were on the same playground and you were like, I like Star Wars, I wouldn't gonna be like, ooh, you're a girl. I'd be like, great, we need a Leia. You're in. Or do you want to be, Han Solo today? Doesn't matter. We need you. So I hate gatekeeping on that. And for the record, Claudia, what were you best at? Slappers, proximity mines?
I would always get that golden gun cheat code and then just, boom.
One kill.
Shot. Go in, one shot.
Adam, do you back that up? Is that something you're okay with, the one shot golden gun?
Oh yeah. Oh my God, GoldenEye. That was such a wonderful thing that brought so many people together, man. And the fact that it's all happens to be a movie reference.
Yeah.
I loved GoldenEye.
Absolutely.
So many nights.
Absolutely. And the nice thing is here, Ikaika can back me up here. We have the Nintendo 64. It's here. It's in the office.
I do too.
And I got GoldenEye. So I think we're gonna stream it here one day, right, Ikaika? We can do that, right?
Must.
You have to bring it in.
He's reminding me that I've yet to bring it in.
But yes,
you got to turn a talk show. You got to have a GoldenEye talk show where you play GoldenEye while talking about certain things. Oh my God. So good.
I don't know if you two are pitching yourself as the co-host of that show, but you might get go picture pretty fast here with that. Love it. Yeah, a lot of people reacting to that as well. Mary Ritchie says, I'm still a kid at 51. It's so true. My landlord just came by today to check on some stuff. She's in her early 70s, Converse, this jean jacket with thing. I'm like, you got it. You got it. Yeah. All right, great start to the show. We're not done yet. We are going to go into our segment we call Bucket Full of Pop.
Look at all that pop.
It's a lot of pop. A lot of pop there. All right, here's the deal for those watching for the first time. I have picked 3 moments, characters, people, movies, events, something we all kind of either went through or knew about or heard about. And my guests here, Adam and Claudia, don't know these moments. We're going to see how they react to them. There might be a shared experience. There might be them jumping out of their seats going, oh, go, or they might go, I didn't experience, and here's why. So, Claudia, Adam, if you're ready, we'll get to item number 1. Are you ready to jump back into the portals of your mind?
Right about now, I feel like I could take on the whole pop culture myself.
Let's do it.
That's a great reference to a great movie. All right, number 1 is, well, kind of simple from 1998, kind of direct. I think we all experienced Jack, Rose, and the motion picture Titanic. Adam, I'm going to start with you. What's your emotional reaction to seeing this picture?
Oh, my emotional reaction. Look, as a young kid who was getting into pop culture and movies big time, James Cameron was like, there was the big guys like George Lucas and Steven Spielberg, but as you realize, like, what I like is filmmaking and filmmakers, you started discovering other ones, and you're like, Terminator, I love Terminator. What else is this guy going to do? Oh, Aliens, and now Terminator 2. So I followed every development of Titanic leading up to the release. And I followed James Cameron's career long enough that his career was over, according to the critics, every movie coming out. Terminator 2, oh my God, no movie that's cost that much could ever make $1. You're going to do a sequel to Aliens? What an idiot. The Abyss, he's officially out of Hollywood after The Abyss, right?
Yeah.
So, of course, Titanic, they're like, this is the one. He's absolutely blown it. There is no way this can make any money whatsoever. And then you go see that movie, and it's packed. And then, just as a person who's paying attention to the weekend numbers, you're like, it's still number 1 like 9 weeks later? That's impossible. Yeah, so I followed that big time, saw it plenty of times in the theaters.
Yeah.
Took a lot of dates to it.
I love it. I love that you have that reaction to it. Claudia, where are you with Jack, Rose?
Same. Very you're so stupid, Rose. Same. It was huge. It was epic.
Big.
And I was, like, I remember watching it movie 16 in Grand Prairie, Texas, several times.
Oh, that's great.
It was enormous. Yeah. The impact of that movie was just like, you heard it's going over budget. It's going to be 3 hours long. Like, just epic, all of it.
Yeah, where they shot, where they built the ship, and Claudia, you're touching on something I really love. I think this isn't too long ago, 1998, but that's long now. We got what 23. I moved to LA in later part of 98, right? So yeah, we're looking around that time, that 97, 98 range. The soundtrack, everything. I think it's easy to forget now. It's easy to look back and go, yeah, big popular movie, made a lot of money. But you both touched upon it. 9 weeks in a row, number 1 at the box office. Claudia, you touched it. It was huge. It was everywhere. It was such just a thing that we all went through,
And nobody could have seen the hit single coming out of that, and that just dominated everything. Nobody could see any of that coming from that movie.
Yeah.
Celine Dion, come on.
No, pounding. Remember, she pounded the chest there. So good. We were on our show, Good People, Good Movies. I love the soundtrack, though it's the James Horner, like
James Horner, baby,
which is a James Horner sound. I loved it. Now, a lot of people in chat bring up something. I really love this movie. I love studying the history of the Titanic too. But a lot of people bring up in chat this idea that everyone believes there was room on that floating piece of wood for Jack.
That's pop culture. The fact that there's an argument to this day about a scene in a movie. Yeah.
Claudia, render your judgment. Do you think Jack could have been on there?
Yes, 100%. 100%. Poor thing.
Adam, you back that up? You setting fire? This movie's so hot, it's setting a fire.
I don't know. Is that me?
I'm screaming in here. Thank you. Welcome to 2021, right?
Yeah, I just love you. You look like Eastwood. Like, get off my lawn! I'm streaming.
Yeah, of course there was room on there, but narratively, there isn't enough room on there. Narratively, there's no room for Jack in the rest of that movie. So, yes, physically, that's true. Yeah. But, as I often say, realism is cinema's lowest standard. So
I totally agree with that. Michael Kautzer in chat says he chose to die. Anka Van Dort admits that she did not cry at this part. Did either of you cry at any part in the theater or even now for Titanic?
No.
The second time I saw it.
Yeah.
After seeing, and I saw that movie numerous times. The second time I saw it, having gone through Titanic the first time, seeing the Titanic again after I'd seen it crash and all
Yeah.
that sink, that made me tear up the second time I saw it. And I realized like that must be what James Cameron went through when this thing was fully built and you were shooting it and you're like, my God, it's the Titanic. It's alive again. That made me cry, actually. Second time I saw it, just seeing the Titanic.
I love it. I got to tell you, I admit, when old Rose drops the jewelry in the ocean, I shed a tear there. So
That's a good moment.
There's some heart left me. Final question on this one. We'll move to number 2. Did either of you own like the double VHS tape set that was released a year or so after? No?
No.
I don't think I ever had that one on VHS. I didn't own that one until DVD,
wow.
actually. Yeah, and that's surprising to me, actually, saying that right now.
I do believe I still own it. Ikaika, do you own it?
My mom used to have it. Yeah.
Oh, that counts. Mom used to have it.
That and like Braveheart were the two like
where
double.
was the tape flip?
Yeah, Ikaika, do you remember when the tape
I don't
flip was?
remember. I don't know.
Sammy Leon Mendoza in chat says, I did. If anyone out there remembers what the tape flip is, that's always like Return of the King extended edition. Like I know when they bring up the Hog's Head, it's time to the Blu-ray's gonna flip. So I love that there. All right, that is a great start to Bucket Full of Pop. We're gonna get on to our number 2 incident. Hit it, Ikaika. From the world of sports, we are gone to sports.
Oh.
We've got this from November 18th, 1985. Claudia, do you know what's going on, and what's your emotional reaction to it if you do?
I don't know what's going on.
Adam?
My emotional reaction is that I don't think that I like that team, though.
I'm not trying to rub it in because you're a Cowboy fan, all right?
Yeah.
Okay. This is Joe Theismann, right?
This is Joe Theismann's leg being snapped in a flea flicker gone wrong.
Right, exactly. Don't even talk about it.
We will not show the instant replay, the reverse view. This is I chose this moment here, and I know you both understand the sports side of the conversation too, because I believe sports and geekdom are the same muscle, just sometimes wearing different uniforms.
Different nerds.
This was big for me because I didn't watch it live. I got into football about a year or so later and just sports and being aware of it. But this hung over everything. It was talked about like, you ever seen Joe Theismann's leg break? Like it just kind of was there and influenced. It's the injury standard in sports going forward. Claudia, you as a Cowboy fan, maybe you celebrated this. You don't want to admit it. Did this come up in any conversations?
No, I remember it now. Absolutely. And you're right. It keeps, I would never, even though I'm a Cowboys fan, I would absolutely never cheer that on because like
you're a good person.
It happened to Dak, you know, like those breaks are just awful. And yes, they still compare it to that injury.
That's my point. Yeah. Alex Smith, Dak Prescott, and Tim Crumry a couple years later in the Super Bowl against 49ers.
Crumry,
that happens. Yeah, but this is still the one. It's like, how bad is it? Is it Theismann level? Is it Theismann level? You know?
I'll filter this through another great piece of pop culture. I was obsessed with David Letterman, and the foundation of my personality is basically David Letterman in the 80s. It's one of the many perfect pop culture things.
This is why we're friends, Adam. Yeah.
Absolutely. And to this day, from the day we got our VCR through, I think, 1990, we taped every Letterman. I have them all on VHS tape. But my favorite Letterman bit was he would do the new products and new inventions. And one of them was, you remember the old type of pencil sharpener you stick your pencil in, and it would have the little handle that looked like a foot. And he had put a Joe Theismann on it with that being the leg. And he's like, it's the Joe Theismann pencil sharpener.
See, and that's
why a very good joke.
That's why I love Letterman. He is, I know he's brutal to a fault sometimes, and I love it. This is great. I wanted to see what your reaction. I know if I was to show this to Mark Ellis, we might have a grown man breaking down in tears on a show. So I wanted to maybe touch upon something else. But I appreciate you both. Again, even if you didn't experience it and you didn't experience it live, it like Claudia said, it hangs over a lot of pro football even to
it
this
is
day.
not the way a leg should move, and we all know that intrinsically. And when we see it move the direction it's not supposed to, it's just such a, like there's like one guy against the leg this way and another guy against the leg this way, and it's none of those are directions legs should go.
And I tell you what, I was watching. I actually watched it yesterday, and and it's still tough to watch. But the panic on Lawrence Taylor's just hit, well, you couldn't see his face, he had his helmet on, and he's calling the sideline over, and then some people in Washington thought he was mocking them or something like that, and then they realized what's happened. It's pretty crazy, and that's why it's a big pop culture moment.
It remains the standard for terrible injuries in live sports event.
And that is that's kind of the point of this all to me. It's like that's the conversation going forward. All right, final one here, bucket full of pop. Our number 3 entrant. Here we go, from February 28th, 1983. Does just that image ring any bells to either of you?
Yes.
All right.
Very important moment.
This is the, of course, series finale of MASH. Adam?
Yes. It was huge. My family is gigantic MASH fans. And that's something you would watch with your uncle. You'd watch with your dad. They all loved MASH. I was really watching TV big time at a time where MASH was at reruns for like an hour in the afternoons, and then there would be a new one still at that time, once a week. So this was, and I'd seen every episode of MASH.
Yeah.
And so when this came to an end, that night was such a celebration. They showed the Robert Altman movie. And then they showed the first episode of the TV show, and then they showed the final episode of MASH, and it was just like, it was a whole evening. You devoted your whole night to MASH. It was a big deal, that show going off the air.
The world gathered around, and I have vague memories of it. So, Claudia, do you have a recollection of it in the moment, other than just the general pop culture talk around it?
No, I people are not gonna like this, but I just could never get into the show. It just wasn't my thing, wasn't my bag.
I
but
think
I
it's
do remember how huge it was.
I think it's okay if you have a hot take on MASH 40 years later. I think it's okay if you have a hot MASH take.
It is a fuddy-duddy show, kind of.
Yeah,
it's not young. It was never young and hip, really. Like even Alan Alda was made fun of for being a doofus.
Yeah.
Like by the regular people, it's like he was made fun of all over the place. So it was never a hip show. It was just on a lot, It was,
Yeah.
Have
you guys been out to Malibu State Canyon Park out there, or
Still
whatever,
haven't.
where they
Still
have the
haven't.
MASH
all my
trucks
years
out there and stuff?
You know what, Claudia, you're inspiring me. All my years in LA, about once a year, I get the idea that I should just hike in general, and then I do it once and go, I'll do this next week, and a year later, I'm back out there. I think I finally want to do that because MASH was big for my life. I love the show, and funny, Anke Van Doorn in chat, who's over there, not from Malibu, another part of the world there is like, so that's my favorite series. So this MASH truly had this international appeal. So even though it wasn't like my favorite show, it was my parents' favorite show. So I watched it with them. Remember the finale. Remember them crying. Remember our TV going out at the beginning. And my dad freaking out we're in the city of Orange at the time. Yeah. And like, because if you missed it, you missed it. Like, what, you're not streaming this. You don't,
Absolutely.
So that's why I love
And
this series.
you weren't guaranteed a show back then.
No.
You would turn on the TV sometime in the antenna, and you'd have to move the antenna around and stuff, and you weren't guaranteed to get to watch that show because who knows what could happen.
And I still talk about Theismann's injury being the standard bearer for injuries going forward. I think series finales, I think this one still ranks not one of the best just in terms of quality, but just in terms of what you want to aspire to if you want to bring a series home. And I think because of what it was all the world was watching,
Yeah. Yeah. There were 3 channels. I mean, what were you going to watch one of the other 2 channels on the night that MASH is going off with this whole 4-hour celebration they did?
Yeah. No. Put a Hungry Man TV dinner in the microwave, pull back the foil, and enjoy some MASH. Did you? Ikake, yeah, you got it.
Can I tell you? I never watched MASH, but what I thought this was, I thought this was like a helicopter view of like Heaven's Gate. That whole.
That's spectacular. I mean, it's a helicopter view, so you got that part right. And you fly up.
Could be Jim Jones.
Could be that.
Yeah, could be.
But it's funny you mentioned that. So I've mentioned this elsewhere. In my kindergarten days, so this is like early 80s, and so the finale's 83, I would, on the playground of my kindergarten, gather my friends around and make them play MASH. So all the other kids were going down slides and everything. I'd be like, you're Hawkeye, you're BJ Honeycutt, you're Hot Lips Houlihan. I had no idea what any of this meant. And I'd reenact, and my friends would just be like, okay. And I'd be like, okay, you got to duck. The helicopter's bringing in the injured. And like, I'm just directing I'm like
always
Altman.
been an old man.
Thank you, Claudia. You've got it. You finally
He's
understand me.
always been a director.
Always been a director. Oh, that's that. So, all right, you guys did wonderfully well with that segment. Bucket
Good
full
topics.
of pop. All right. All right, segment 3 on the show here is a little something we call New Trend, Old Soul. No doubt, growing older, sometimes you get a little set in your ways. And I think it's always a battle with oneself to adapt, to change, to grow, to mature, to become something better than what you were before. But that also means along the way that we fight trends actively before maybe eventually taking part in them. So I want to ask you, Adam and Claudia, what is one trend you've actively fought against in your life, but now take part in freely and maybe even enthusiastically? Adam?
Well, you say that, and it makes me think I should think of something a little more technological. But when I heard you do this topic on a previous show, the thing that popped into my head that was a real weird thing that I protested against, because I'll embrace most anything. Sometimes things are too popular with a group or demographic that I'm like, well, I don't want to like that.
Yeah.
One case was, I loved John Hughes. I loved Breakfast. I loved 16 Candles. But because I was at war with the popular kids in my school, I did not want to watch Ferris Bueller's Day Off because I thought Ferris Bueller was an example of all the popular kids at school that would give me crap all day. And I was just like, I don't want to watch the popular kid from my school an entire movie and watch him win and win and win and get the girls and do everything cool. And I just absolutely protested that every time we wanted to, and I loved all the other John Hughes movies. It was so stupid. And then of course we rented it and I watched it 12 times. I was like, it's no way to, not exactly a technological trend, but that is something I remember that was very popular that I actively fought against.
Look, this is again, Adam, why I know we're pals, and Claudia and our pals too. Just put us in a bar with tacos, apparently, of course. The technological stuff, sure, but this is more in line with what I do. Pee-wee's Big Adventure is one of my favorite movies. It's life-changing. It's life-changing.
Oh.
I refused to watch it first. My parents had it, and they watched it. They rented it. The local Movies to Go was our local Blockbuster. And they're like, Kenny, you'll love this. This is something we know you'll love. And I was like, no, not going to do it. I've heard about it. I'm not going to do it. And then the next day I snuck in and watched it and was like, comedy, Pee Wee Herman, Paul Rubens, Groundlings. It influenced a lot of my life going forward, but I fought against it for some reason. I don't know what that is, Adam. It's not good. We've got to grow past that. If we can.
I would say mine is I don't think that I was necessarily actively against it, but when my very first boyfriend was a huge music snob. And would not allow, and we were dating right around the time that Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera, all those girls were popping up.
99, 90.
And he would not allow it in the house. He was just like, no.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Not gonna happen.
Yeah. Fighting against it.
I love Britney Spears so much, her music. And I'm a former dancer, I'm a retired dancer. So it's great dance music. It's great pop music.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's positive. I have a Britney Spears calendar on my wall right now. All of it.
I love it. It looks like Adam froze. We're trying to get Adam back here, so bear with us all there. We got so excited over that. But no, this is great too. It's great too because of that era. I think people can become so popular, performing artists, musical acts, whatever, and including the movies where you can fight against it, and at some point when it's right, you kind of embrace it. And I think that's a good example. And Britney now, I think Britney's gone through a couple resurgences. Wouldn't you say, where she's been rediscovered a few times, and even now?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this whole Free Britney
documentary
that just came out.
Yeah.
I just all these girls. I've never felt the need to make fun of any of these kids when they're going through stuff. I mean, kids, she's she's 40 now, but we've all gone through stuff. So I just hope that, she's able to live her full life and spend the money that she earned.
Exactly. Let me check it. Kaika, how we doing?
I'm trying to make a scene with just 2 cameras.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We'll do that. So I'm gonna vamp. What it now that they're hearing you, Claudia. They're not seeing you yet. So let me ask you this question: What was there? Was there a moment? Was there a song about Britney or something that ever pulled you in early on, maybe in spite of yourself?
Well, I mean, all of it, and this goes back to Titanic also, because "Hit Me, Baby, One More Time," which was a huge hit. Is it "Hit Me, Baby, One More Time"? That
Baby, one more time. Yeah.
With the astronaut, she meets the astronaut in her music video, and
Yes.
he gives her the blue diamond from Titanic.
That's right. Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's all connected.
Yeah, I thought the old lady dropped it in the ocean.
Yeah, and it ends up with yeah. That's right. She actually says those words. Oh my God. How to date something pretty quick is to put a current pop culture reference into something you do at the time, which is probably like I'm also. Oh, there we go. Adam's back.
He's back.
It doesn't
I'm
matter.
back.
It doesn't matter if y'all reversed. We felt you literally froze with the greatest smile on your face, Adam. So we just thought you were having a great time. I didn't notice it for
was a good
seconds.
freeze.
Yeah, it was good. So Adam, Claudia was talking about like Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera, that era, right, Claudia? I don't want to put words in your mouth. Just like getting an appreciation for Britney a little bit later, right?
Yeah, I just mentioned that, I had started dating a guy as my very first boyfriend. He was a huge music snob and didn't want pop music in the house. This was like when Britney and Christina and all this, and I am a retired dancer, so it's in my head all day long because you got to take class and stuff like that. So now I embrace it. I love Britney Spears. I'm free, #free Britney. I was telling Ken I have a calendar of Britney Spears on my wall right now.
Yeah.
I love it.
Adam, at what point did you start appreciating the music of Britney Spears?
I don't know when Britney Spears, when Britney Spears came out, that was, I was in sketch comedy and improv in Chicago. That was exclusively for punchlines. If you had to do a sequence, you wanted to get a laugh, you throw some Britney Spears in there.
Yeah.
The one I did come around on that I initially disliked, I'll say, is the Spice Girls, and I adore the Spice Girls.
Well,
they are so good, and all those songs are jams. I don't feel that way quite that way with Britney Spears yet, but I could see it based on my coming around with the Spice Girls.
Well,
the songs are jams.
Adam, once again, proven that we're friends. We're going to go to our next segment, but I had put a video bumper in to bring us smoothly into the next segment that I wasn't even going to acknowledge. I was just going to play, but that wraps up New Trend Old Soul. Go ahead and roll it, Ikaika, as we get ready for the trivia.
Yes.
Oh my God.
What a jam.
My love of the Spice Girls is pretty real. It's pretty real. I went from hating them because I was in rock radio at the time, and we used to make fun of.
It was the law.
And we used to make fun of them every day on our radio show. We went on their website back in the early days of something called the internet, and we were taking Spice Girl quizzes. Me and my morning show host and co-host Maddie D. And by the end of it, I was like, "Hot damn! I love this band, and Spice World's one of my favorite movies."
I love Spice World.
Spice World.
Songs are such jams.
Spice World is great. Spice World is. I'm a Beatle fan, and Help, Hard Day's Night is a piece of art. Help and Spice World, I think they're related. I think it's okay.
Man.
All right, that was hilarious.
Not a lot of bands can create a Help.
Not a lot of bands could.
A rock movie. That's a rare talent.
Yeah, and Meatloaf is great in that movie. All right, this is the trivia segment of the show here. I've been trying to find a name for it, so audience, maybe you GPA members can help. Today I'm going to call it Oh, I Know It. We'll see if this goes. So you guys, you both know how this goes. We've got a category. Today it is TV shows. TV shows. First to 5, your name, Claudia or Adam, is the buzzer. It's all for fun. There's no championship belts or any
all
big...
for fun and fun for all.
Fun for all. No big prize package here at the end. You just win like a no prize, like you did in the old Marvel days. All right?
Right.
So, I will... I'm gonna name, and you get to steal. I'm gonna name the year. If you want to take a big swing, you can guess it right off the year. If not, I'm going to name a cast member from the show beat by beat. Some are leads, some are maybe cameos or secondary characters. I try to be fair, and we'll see if you can get it. And audience, you can play along at home. If our guests here, Claudia and Adam, happen to steal something from the chat, that's their morals they got to deal with here. So here we go. First one coming down the pipeline is from 1978. That's when it debuted in 1978. Cast members are Mary Jo Catlett.
Claudia.
Mm-hmm.
Little House on the Prairie.
Oh, good guess, but no. Good
No.
guess, no. Adam, you can either steal or I'll continue to go here.
78. It's not. No, continue to go.
Okay, next up, Charlotte Ray.
Oh, Facts of Life. Adam, Facts of Life.
Incorrect.
Oh! She's lower on
Incorrect.
the cast. She's lower on the cast. Wait, I know what it is.
Yep. All right, for freebie, no one gets the point. You both guess wrong, but Adam, take a guess.
Well, Claudia, do you want to go now? Because I just hogged the.
Different Strokes.
That's the one. Different
There it
Strokes.
is. Charlotte Ray's lower on the cast.
Lower
on
the
that show.
cast.
Yeah.
Conrad
She's the
Bain,
lead.
Todd Bridges, Gary Coleman, and we can't forget Dana Plato as well. All right, so it's 0-0. This happens sometimes.
Never miss that show.
Question number 2 from 1997. 1997. Courtney Thorne Smith. Gil Claudia.
Melrose Place.
Incorrect. Adam, for a steal, or I'll keep reading the cast.
I can only name a movie with Courtney Thorne Smith in it, which is Summer School.
All right. We'll go next cast member. Gil Bellows. Peter McNichol. Jane Krakowski. And Callista Flockhart.
Days and Nights of Molly Dodd, or whatever, the other show that came out that same week.
What
is it called?
Ally McBeal.
Ally McBeal, yeah.
But the Days and Nights of Molly Dodd is a deep cut reference that almost gets you a half point, but the game's not played that way.
I think they both came out at the same time, if I remember.
It was right there at that time, and I got to tell you, I'm one of the biggest season 1 through 3 fans of Ally McBeal. I even think I owned a Vonda Shepard record or two, like that great theme song. And Peter McNichol, one of my favorite actors as well. So
good.
One of the best lines from Ghostbusters 2. Everything you are doing is wrong.
right, you're right. All right. This is supposed to be first to 5. We'll see. I got 3 more plus some bonuses. Let's see what goes on here. Right. So far, wow. You guys are getting close. You're so close. Close. All right. Here we go. We've got question number 3 from 2004. Grace Park. James Callis. Trisha Helfer.
Claudia. Battlestar Galactica.
We got a point on the board.
Nice.
It's Claudia, yes. Katie Sackhoff, Edward James Olmos.
Didn't miss an episode.
It's absolutely a show that is all up there for the hype, and it exceeds, I think, the hype. I love the reboot of Battlestar Galactica, and that was something I fought against because I grew up with the real Battlestar. Don't you dare. And our buddy, Claudia, I definitely know you know Matt Key. Matt Key used to tell me, dude, you've got to watch the reboot of Battlestar.
Yes.
And I was like, absolutely not. I'm not going to do that. One day I did. And, one of my favorite shows. So.
Oh, that TV show sells you on it instantly.
It's,
Instantly.
And how did you feel, Adam, specifically, we were, did you fight against that too at all? Or were you there from episode 1 when it aired?
I never felt that Battlestar was that great a TV show. It was something you
It's
watched
not.
because it was like Star Wars. It was the only fake Star Wars there was.
Yeah.
So you watched the fake Star Wars.
It was so close to fake Star Wars that George Lucas got upset and sued them. So yes.
Yes. And probably rightfully so, because his special effects guy went and did the effects on that show when he couldn't make enough money from Lucasfilm. Or
Yep.
So no, I didn't fight against that. It probably because it's TV. Sometimes it takes me a while to get to something. So it did start building amongst people I knew that were like, "Dude, you got to watch Battlestar." So
Yeah.
it did take me a little while, but not out of protest, just because it's TV and I'm slow to TV a lot. Of times.
Old Handsaw in chat, who's the perfect name for this show. Old Handsaw, great guy, says there's only Galactica 1980, right? Which is the disastrous follow-up to an already kind of disastrous show.
Yeah,
but
I did love Battlestar. The Cylons, that was such a cool look. They did a lot of cool stuff in that show.
It was Star Wars in your own living room, which now Mando has that count. All right, so Claudia's up though, 1-0. Here we go. Right. Here we go. From 1990, Brian Doyle Murray, Robin Riker, Eleanor Donahue, Bob Elliott, Chris Elliott.
Oh, Adam.
Yes.
Get a Life.
Stand in the place where you live. Yes. Get a Life. Somewhere Nathan Hamill's ears are burning. His all-time favorite show. Get a Life absolutely changed my world, too. Everyone was watching this new hip show, The Simpsons. I was like, nah, Get a Life is where it's at.
That was another like amazing story saying being immature is okay. And God, what a unique show. And the early Fox, when Fox was only on like 2 hours a night and had the weirdest shows. And those weirdest shows were Simpsons, which is now not the weirdest show in the world. But
Married with Children, Get a Life, all there. And then, of course, I think one of the finest episodes of any comedy program ever is that Neptune 3000 episode where he builds a submarine in his bathtub.
Oh, wow.
And of course, Chris Elliott's real life father, Bob Elliott, was an old timey comedy legend himself. So it was great to see them.
I mean, it's kind of a Pee Wee Herman TV show in terms of it's like the immaturity is allowed to run wild in the bubble in which he lives, and you can't puncture his bubble that he's crazy and shouldn't be doing any of this stuff. It's really great.
He wasn't crazy. Claudia, are we alone in our love for Get a Life, or do you appreciate the greatest show of all time too?
You are alone in this one, I gotta say.
That's a great rediscover for anybody that doesn't know it, though. Great rediscover.
I don't know it, so I'll go visit.
Yeah,
Claudia, tell you what, next time we're on a bar crawl, the first time in a year or so, I'll just reenact every episode for you. You get the feel for it.
You have to remember, I was homeschooled. Homeschooled.
Hey, as a Christian kid in the 80s, all my toys were at one point taken from me, and I wasn't allowed to see R-rated movies or any movie with open-mouth kissing. So I understand.
As a homeschooled kid, did you have to shove yourself into a locker or what?
No, but my mother is a teacher. She's a vice principal, so we wore uniforms. We had a classroom set up upstairs. Like, we were up at 7 a.m., like...
That is great. There's
no joking around.
That's like a Shyamalan movie. It's a Village. It's great going on there.
Oh, The Village? Oh my God! When I saw that movie, I was like, this is my parents' dream. This is their dream.
Moving away from it all.
That's amazing. All right. Final one. We're gonna say we're tied up at 1. Final question in the regular round. So I think if either of you gets it, we got a winner. If not, I got a couple of bonuses. All right. We are going. Oh, this is. We'll see. We're going to 1992. I'll tell you, this ran for about a year and a half, maybe. But 1992. Paul Feig, Julie Brown, Wayne Knight, Tom Kenny, Jennifer Aniston.
Wow, 92.
All those people in a show?
All those people and more in a show. 5 seconds on the clock if anyone wants to take a big, big swing from 1992.
I got nothing.
I really feel like I should know this for some reason.
I'll tell you what, you might know. This was Fox's sketch comedy show, The Edge.
The Edge.
Oh.
I used to know all these dumb sketch shows that would come and go.
Yeah. Vacant Lot, Exit 57.
Exit 57?
Which
oh, my God.
turned into Strangers with Candy.
Yes.
Yeah, The Edge. That was Jennifer Aniston, pre-Friends, Wayne Knight, pre-Seinfeld. Julie Brown, of course, from MTV fan, not Downtown, the other Julie Brown. And that was everything. That was there. Trey T says, Ken made it too hard. I wanted to try to push the fifth one. I didn't think we'd get to it. But don't worry, I got some bonuses. We're tied at 1. We got next point wins here. Here we go. Into overtime. Free baseball. 2003. Jessica Walter. Tony Hale.
Oh,
Adam.
Claudia. Both.
Oh, I heard Adam first.
Arrested Development.
We got a winner. We got by a fraction of a second.
By a fraction. Yeah,
Fraction
we
of
both knew
a
that
second. Tony Hale, Michael Cera, Portia de Rossi, Jason Bateman. I was trying to throw as many, but yes, perhaps one of the greatest shows of all time. Arrested Development. And Adam is our winner today. What do you get, Adam? Absolutely nothing but working
Why,
internet.
thank you, Ken. I will take it and embrace it and love it.
There you go. There you go.
Sorry,
one of the
Rob.
best lines from one of the best lines from Jessica Walter. Go see a Star Wars.
Go see a Star Wars.
I was talking about it the other day with some pals. I'm like, that show made me, because I was coming out of my Groundling sketch comedy days and everything, and I just remember thinking, there's no point in me being a comedy writer. I can't do that. I can't do that. Just can't.
It sets such a high standard for comedy that it makes you feel like what's the point? They've achieved maximum. They've touched the obelisk of comedy, and they've evolved into something new that no one can touch.
I was like, I haven't laughed this hard since Get a Life in 1990, which is not true. Simpsons made me laugh a little bit too. Seinfeld as well. Oh my gosh, Adam Witt, Claudia Dolph, you all have just brought it today. This was a ton of fun as this show here continues to build. I can't thank you enough for coming on in and talking about the internet.
Thanks for inviting us.
A lot of fun.
Yes, thank you.
And thanks for everyone watching, hanging out. Uncle Van Doren, thanks for that super chat as well. Portions of all proceeds go to charities of choice. This week we're focusing on St. Baldrick's at stbaldricks.org. They got a big shave event coming up. They raise awareness and help fight childhood cancers. Got a big event. Our friend Jeff Saunders from Feeding the Monster podcast is going to be on Positivity Report Tuesday to talk about this a little bit. There you go. Help us conquer childhood cancers. stbaldricks.org is the spot for that. Awesome. Before we get on out of here, your handles are down at the bottom, but tell them where they can find you. Claudia, where can they find you? You also do a lot of shows, live shows, everything. Where can they hook up with your work?
Well, every Friday, my partner in crime, Chrissy Guerrero, and I, we used to do a live variety show here in Los Angeles when you could still go into theaters.
Right.
So we basically moved that all online. And so we do shows like a variety show quarterly, I would say.
Yeah.
And then we've interviewed all of our entertainers.
Yeah.
And so now we're going to be moving forward because we've gone through everybody at this point. We're going to be talking to independent artists. So Ken and Adam, I'm sure I'll be hitting you up for that at some point. Every Friday, 7 p.m. Find it on the YouTubes.
You both are spectacular. I've got to work with you on little things here and there too, and see your work. So it's great. Follow them. Follow Claudia. It's not the last time you're going to see Claudia Dolph here on the Good People Association. She's truly good people. And even though he's occasionally a solo-like scoundrel, Adam Witt's good people as well. Adam, where can they find you and all the wonderful work you do with the movie guys and other stuff like that?
Yeah, look up the movie guys on Twitter and on the World Wide Web. Monday, Paul and I are launching a new podcast
Nice.
where we watch every single Harrison Ford movie in order. So we'll be starting with Dead Heat on a Merry-Go-Round, which everybody knows is Harrison Ford's first movie, but nobody's seen it. And so we sat down and watched it and started a show called The Ford Fiesta.
That's the greatest idea ever. And I don't know if you ever have guests, but please... let me know when I can start talking about Clear and Present Danger with you.
Okay, I was going to say, Ken, do you have a preference in Harrison Ford movie in which you'd like to come on?
Han Solo, Indiana Jones is my favorite cinematic character, but Clear and Present Danger is still one of the best theater experiences because I don't know if I've ever recovered from the tension of that alley scene in The Suburbans.
Wow.
So
You're down for that.
I love it.
And more if you choose.
Yeah, and Paul Preston is going to be on the show too because he's on the internet and he's old too, so he belongs here as well. And is a great cat. I can't thank you all enough again for coming on. I want to thank all of you watching in the audience. We appreciate your presentation, your involvement. I don't even know what I'm saying. I just want to go home because I'm old and I need to take a nap. But no, thank you for being part of the GPA. You can go to the GPA.fund to join or just support, spread the word. And again, if you want to make a donation directly to St. Baldrick's, go to stbaldricks.org. Thank you to Ikaika Shively, the wine hunk, making things happen over here. And tomorrow, if you're watching live on the Positivity Report, Mark Ellis returns to join Josh McCouga, me, Ikaika, and who knows who else. And tomorrow night on Joshberty, we've got Josh returning with another episode of the fastest game show on the internet. That is it for right now. We'll see y'all next time. Don't worry, friends. Old isn't as old as you fear. Bye.